What are you specifically?
It's interesting. I'm finding right now that I feel like we're focusing more in on myself than we are Danny. And that's not a knock against Danny. It's just that sometimes that's how it goes. You know, every camp is different. And depending on where you are in camp, what you have to accomplish before the fight, that's what it is. So right now, I would say we're actually focusing more on myself than we are on Danny. Mm-hmm. But Danny's like the #1 thing on my mind. I
know. For months now, years now.
Yeah.
What tools do you believe you need to sharpen up?
Prior to the fight, yesterday sparring I felt really good, but I know who I was sparring against. I like to get some better competition in here and see how I feel with those guys. But yesterday I thought the reaction time was there. I thought the recognition of what was coming at me was there. Felt very very fluid throughout the sparring. I like to feel that against some better competition. Yeah.
Yeah, you were doing a great job slipping. You wasn't parrying a lot yesterday. You were doing a lot more slipping. Your reaction time was really good.
Yeah, that's one thing I know about boxing. A lot of guys do like this to block punches. But what they don't take into account is you're blocking that guy's punch, but the impact of the shot is still hitting your glove, therefore hitting you. So that's something I don't want to do. I would rather roll off of his left hook than block it and take the chance of, you know, something hitting me at all, you know. And the same with his right hand. So that's one thing I really want to focus on. Again, is the reaction time, but against better competition that's going to go and then go and then go. You know, I didn't have that yesterday.
So you got some special guests. Can y'all be on camera? Is that okay?
We can't.
Okay, good. Just thinking short. That's what I asked. Okay. No, I'm just asking. so it won't happen. Yeah. So, what else do you? Now that you got the contract, what else is it? Is it his? How would you rate his mental game, Danny Garcia?
I expected to attack that the most. I expected to attack that the most. I don't really want to say anything because I don't want to sound disrespectful.
Okay.
But I do know that there's things that I can do to really attack his mental throughout this fight. And some emotions are going to rise. One way or another, you're in trouble when you fight me.
You've excited.
Yeah, as I get older, man, I'm figuring out more and more things. And it's one way or another, it's going to happen.
Fans get the sense that this is a more personal fight for you, and it's brought out a more aggressive Shawn Porter.
I think it's just personal for me from the standpoint of when I play football, this is how it was. I play offense and defense. I wanted to run for 200 yards, and I wanted to stop that running back from running even 100 yards. And if I didn't get 100 yards, that running back could not have 100 yards. I was livid, go home upset. And that's how it is with this fight. I look at him like I'm the better fighter, and I'm out to prove that. And I think that is what is making this fight seem more personal, is because I feel like I'm a better fighter than he is, and I'm ready to show that.
You said that you're a better fighter. What attributes makes you a better fighter?
I think I'm faster than him. And I don't think speed is all dependent upon combination punching. You can throw 2 punches. We've seen Floyd do it. His 2 punches, his 3 punches are counters, but they're some of the fastest punches you've ever seen a boxer throw. So I'm not thinking in terms of, oh, I throw more punches than you, I'm faster than you. I'm thinking to the punch. If we went jab for jab, I would beat him to the punch every time. And you do your ABCs from there. The right hand, the hook, so on and so forth. The foot movement. I can get around that ring. I can come at you in different ways. I can feint you left, right back in, right back out. And I don't think he has that ability. Now, I'm not saying that in order to win a fight, you have to be able to do that. I'm saying I'm better at that than he is. And that's something that's going to help me win the fight. quickness, same thing. You know, I don't think we've ever really seen him stand in front of somebody and slip punches and you know, move around the guy. Now everybody's taught how to pivot. Now everybody's taught how to, you know, get around the guy or, you know, change your levels and things of that nature. I'm saying all that to say this. I just said a whole lot right there. A lot of things that I know. Not only that I know, but a lot of things I can do. And it wasn't that I was picking those things specifically because he can't do, but he can't do those things. So I think, you know, when you talk in terms of getting in the ring and answering questions, asking questions and answering questions, we're going to push his heart rate. We're going to push the tempo of the fight. I'm going to push his emotions, his mentality, his physical, the whole nine.
Now your dad's in camp with you. How do you separate dad and trainer? Because you guys actually are living together now, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Not right now. Actually, no. This would be the first camp we didn't live together.
Okay, okay.
And so, for that, for me, is all about, especially from here on out, is being on top of my game. That way he sees that, you know, when I'm not with him, I'm still the same old Shawn Porter, you know? And that's how it goes for him and I. Sometimes it's like the same questions I'm talking about asking Danny and answering for Danny is the same questions my dad asks of me time and time again, camp after camp, you know? So I'm used to it at this point.
And Showtime is here to document what's going on. What side of Shawn Porter do you want to show more of in this camp?
When they're here, I'm the same old Shawn Porter, opposed to if they're not here, and that's just me. And that's the cool part about it is you see me get in the ring against Danny Garcia, you don't see me confused, you don't see me uncomfortable, you don't see me thinking about what I'm gonna say. I got in the ring and I did what I wanted to do because that was how I felt. And so even though that's a side of me you never see, it's a part of me. It's a part of who I am. I'm an aggressive fighter. You see that, but I can be an aggressive person. I choose not to be. I choose to be fun. I choose to be, you know, nice and outgoing and so on and so forth. So when they're around, I'm same old Shawn Porter. You know, you ask the question, you're gonna get the answer. So depending on how you ask it is how you get the answer.
Okay. Now we're literally 30 days out. Okay, yeah, sure. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So we're literally 30 days out. You said you feel great. What's the tempo 30 days out? What's the weight? I can still see you. What's the weight like?
Well,
the overall feel 30 days out.
They texted me today wanting the 30-day weigh-in, and I was like, okay, no problem. And then when I sent it to them, it made me feel good because at this point, you know, depending on how the training is going, depending on how the coaching is going, depending on how every aspect of a camp is, sometimes you don't know where you're at in camp. So yesterday I sparred, probably the hardest I've sparred being in camp. After that, we swam last night, was the best swim I've done since the previous camp, you know, so I felt really good and confident in that. And then for me to be able to do a 30-day weigh-in and be on weight for that made me feel good as well. So right now I would say I feel like I'm approaching being on schedule. We like to stay ahead of schedule, so I would say I'm approaching that point where I can be ahead of schedule.
And this is your first camp as a father, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, man.
What's that like? You put on gloves and you gotta pick up a baby, like.
I love it, man. I absolutely love it. My son's a joy. My son is a joy. He's not the typical kid. You know, most kids will keep you up all night, you know, wanting to eat every other hour or just crying or whatever. He's not like that. And you know, all day long. You know, I'm away from them all day, but you know, anytime I see him, he's just smiling. You know, and he's happy. And my lady does a terrific job. She keeps him happy, and she keeps him well nourished. You know, so I have no worries when I'm gone and then when I come home. You know, I looked at her yesterday. I told her I feel like we don't spend any time together, and usually that's what the woman would say to the man. I was beating her to the punch.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, I was beating her to the punch because while I'm saying that, I understand why I haven't seen her that much. So I'm not regretful of not seeing her. But I did need her to know that, you know, I recognize that we aren't seeing each other as much as we expect to, and she knows the game right now. She knows we're 30 days out. If she doesn't know, I'll tell her tonight we're 30 days out. But she knows how the game goes at this point. She knows it's going to be a lot less than me up until the night after the fight.
Short-term sacrifices for long-term gains.
For sure, and it's all worth it.
What's the fight and moment in a fight you wish you can have back?
Which fight and which moment?
Yeah. Is there a moment?
It could be Adrian Bronner knocking me down in the last round, but I feel like it was a learning experience for me.
How'd you come out that round?
I came out that round knowing that I was winning the fight, and I was too relaxed, thinking that I was going to coast the rest of the way. And you know me, I fight hard 10, 12 rounds, you know? So that was, I guess, in my mind, one opportunity where I had a fight that I fought hard all the way, and this is it. I'll just get through this round and I'll be all right. And it was an embarrassing moment. It wasn't like after that, like I'm not embarrassed about it now. I'm not embarrassed about getting knocked down now. But in the moment, understanding what happened and how it happened and why it happened, that's what made it embarrassing.
Seemed like you started slow that round because
I started extremely slow, and if you watch me every fight, every round, I'm like this, I'm like this, I'm like this, and it's not jitters, it's nothing but my rhythm. That's my rhythm. My rhythm is go, 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 go. And you didn't see that last round. You saw me come out, and I'm like, and did he throw two punches?
Yeah.
He threw two punches, and it happened. You know. I think we all want to go a whole fight without getting knocked down. We all want to go a whole fight or a whole career without getting knocked out. You know what I mean? And that has not happened to me yet. But you know, I'm one of many who can say, "Oh yeah, I've been knocked down once." You know.
Team Garcia. I heard some interviews. They're banking. They're banking on the power of that left hook.
Come on, that's a psychology lesson for you. That's what happens if you come out and you're not ready for the way you need to be ready. That's all that is. That punch doesn't happen if I come out with my mind going and ready to fight, with my body going and ready to fight. I was in, you know, somewhat of a defense mode and somewhat of a relaxed, I'll get through this and we'll be good to go mode. And that was not the mode to be in. If he's banking on the left hook, great for me, because that's the only punch you're looking for. It's not going to be there the whole night.
How do you solve it?
How do you solve that hook?
No, Danny Garcia, general speaking. Because he's most notorious for it. They call it the no-look left hook.
Feints.
Pull it out of him.
Pull it out of him. Freeze him. It's not going to be an easy fight, but I'm going to make it an easy fight.
How do you imagine this fight? Is it Paulie Malignaggi, Andre Berto? Rematch with Diaz? It's Devin Alexander?
I see more Devin Alexander. And God willing, we'll finish it up with Paulie Malignaggi, and that's the best way to say it. You know, I don't mean to put a label on it, but what I mean by that is, with Devin Alexander, Devin is a fighter who requires space and rhythm. That's what his boxing ability is dependent upon. When I fought him, was a great counterpuncher. The other night, he was really aggressive against Andre Berto, and I was really impressed by that. But when I fought him, he was more of a counterpuncher, but he counters in combination. And so I never let that counter be exposed, and so he was never really able to get into a rhythm. I offset his rhythm and pretty much solidified the whole fight with just that. And then, you know, the aggressive approach to the fight as well. He had never fought a guy with my pressure, but also my speed. You know.
What's the feeling commentating the fight, knowing you beat both those opponents?
It was fun. I loved it, man. I went home still talking about it, man. It was an absolute joy. And when you're someone like me, I can separate, you know, what I did with them, that business/personal, and what they're doing right now. What they were doing right there in that moment was way more important than what I did with Andre last year, and then even with Devin Alexander 5 years ago. You know, so that moment for them was all about them, and then obviously it was all about me showing what I can do from a commentating standpoint, from a boxing educational standpoint. You know, I had to really, you know, show up and show out from a you know, a vernacular standpoint, and it was absolute fun. Peter Quillen came out and did his thing, and it was a great night. The night was better than I think some people expected it to be.
How would you rate yourself as a commentator?
No, I haven't listened to that. I don't intend to. My dad, after my first gig, he said you need to listen to it and, you know, correct yourself.
Sam's Club was your first gig?
No, my first gig was Spike TV, and we were in New Jersey, I believe.
Okay.
We might have been in Newark, New Jersey.
Okay.
It was the undercard of Cunningham and
Tarver.
Cunningham and Tarver, yeah. And so yeah, after that, that was like 3 years ago, I think. He said you need to go back and listen to that. And, you know, I hate listening to myself. But I can remember. God's blessed me, man. I got a very imaginative mind. I can see everything and hear everything. And, you know, that's kind of how I correct myself, even on the spot.
Now, the obvious question is, after you win this fight, quote unquote win this fight, fans are going to be clamoring for Errol Spence.
Yeah.
You already know that.
Yeah.
Is it? Is that your immediate next opponent you would like to have?
That's you know, when I heard that, I was like, I get the WBC and that's it. And so I'm completely fine with that. I'm completely fine with that. And I said something in the press conference in New York, and I think it may have gotten a little misconstrued because I'm not happy. I'm sorry, I'm not unhappy or displeased at all with the way my career has gone. I just was simply trying to say, up until now, I think this might be my 31st or 32nd fight. All the way up until now, I've never said this is who I want to fight. On top of that, I've never gotten what I wanted. I never gotten the fight I wanted. You know, first of all, it was never spoken by me. Second of all, it wasn't, you know, it was you fight this guy, it's okay, I'll fight that guy. This is the first time I've ever spoken up and say who I wanted to fight, and the fight happened. And so for me to get that is means a lot to me. Moving beyond that, when I was told at Garcia Easter that Errol Spence was told he would get the winner of, he would get me after September 8th, I was like, whoa, cool. Because here's another opportunity where, you know, this ain't football, this ain't basketball. You know who's playing on Tuesday, and then you know who they're playing on Thursday. So for me to know, once I get this title, I'm getting Errol Spence. That's fine and dandy with me.
Did it bother you at all, or ruffle your feathers a bit, that people were saying you and Danny Garcia were actually like avoiding Errol Spence?
It didn't ruffle my feathers at all. It didn't bother me at all. And again, I tell you, I'm different, man. I'm a different guy than most people out there, but I'm a different guy than I was, you know, last year, year before. When something is told to me, I really do analyze it and I figure it all out. Errol Spence came around at a fantastic time. Social media is booming. We have platforms now that we didn't have when I turned pro. He has had some luxuries that I didn't have, that a lot of guys that came up when I came up didn't have. There's no excuse. I'm just simply saying that his fan base got really big, really quick, and there was a lot of reasons why. There was a time when I fought Devin Alexander, and nobody expected me to win the fight. Why didn't people know who I was? Because if you weren't a big boxing fan, if you weren't paying attention to Showbox or ESPN, you just didn't know who Shawn Porter was. And I didn't take that offensive. I wasn't offended by that in an angrily way. I was more so offended that you didn't recognize what I had, but I knew I was going to get in the ring and show you what I had. You couldn't do that with Errol Spence. When Errol Spence was coming up and he was saying, oh yeah, I want to fight for a championship, this is who I want to fight, he had platforms to do that. We didn't have that, you know. So now he has a championship and he's calling the shots. And that was what I said before. When he didn't have a championship and I was calling out I was calling out Keith Thurman and Danny Garcia wanting to fight those guys. He just flat out was not on my radar. So not that it's a waste of time, but why would I fight someone who doesn't have a championship title and is gunning for someone who has a title and I didn't have a title, you know? So I said it before. I get a title, I get Errol Spence.
And that's do you think Danny Garcia is your Hall of Fame fight, or do you think Danny Garcia to Errol Spence is your Hall of Fame fight?
Danny Garcia is going to be a Hall of Fame fight.
So the winner is automatic, goes to the Hall of Fame?
No, I'm not saying that.
Okay, okay.
I'm saying Keith Thurman was a Hall of Fame fight for me, and the next one is Danny Garcia. Yeah.
How close are you to the Hall of Fame, would you say?
I don't know. People have told me I'm gonna be in it, and I'm like, yeah, right. I can't imagine, man. Like, what? Being in the same everything as Marvin Hagler? Like, that's it for me.
And you get goosebumps still around Marvin Hagler.
Heck yeah. He better not be at my fight. He better not be at my fight. Please come to my fight. He better not be at my fight. Yeah, I was telling somebody before, I said I'm always cool in the ring. There's never anyone that's outside of the ring that I see that'll really get me going or anything like that. I fought on the undercard of Bernard Hopkins, my first fight back against Phil Greco, and probably to that point there wasn't really anybody at the fights for me anyway. At that point anyway, but I'm fighting Phil, and I remember when I get in the ring and I'm doing my thing, walking through the ring, and I catch eyes with Shane Mosley, and I'm just like, Shane is here.
While you're in the ring?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Stay cool, gave him a head nod, but in the back of my mind, I was like, and one time during the match too, I seen him again, and it was like, but outside of that, I've never had a moment where I was just like, saw somebody and was like, oh my God, they're there, you know what I mean?
Do you hear the crowd as well?
If Marvin ends up at my fight, which I don't expect, but if he ends up at my fight, man, that's gonna be a glorious night for Shawn Porter.
How often do you hear people in the crowd? I know you hear your dad's voice, but how
I hear
often?
it all. I hear the stupid stuff. There was actually somebody I was told that I didn't hear him, but there was a lady screaming some stupid stuff in my last fight, and I didn't hear it, but the stuff she was saying was like really, really like off the wall. But I hear the craziness. I hear all of it. Yeah.
Coach is here.
I got you Saturday.